Okay, there it is. Sorry, I had my 10-minute Streamlabs crash. I have to reformat tonight. Streamlabs owns my Windows now. Streamlabs is literally a virus. I can't get away from it. It comprises 9 different products. You can see them here. Streamlabs is a nasty Trojan virus. The OBS stream programs, right? Free stream programs, right? OBS is a Trojan. Yeah, no, free streamer programs, right? Yeah. OBS, XSplit, Vimeo, Tacast, OpenShot, Adobe. Well, not Adobe. Adobe Flash Media Live. No way! It was available. It's not there anymore. It was available, but is it not there anymore? Adobe won't fuck me like Streamlabs. They won't do it. What? Yeah, like, does Adobe have a streamer program? No way. Adobe Media Server 5. No shit. How much? How much is it? How much is it? Adobe can't afford to be a virus. They can't. Streamlabs can. Streamlabs is a virus. Oh yeah, and I can't believe Amazon bought Adobe to try to battle. I think Elon Musk bought Adobe to try to battle Streamlabs. I can't believe. I think I finally made the connection. This mystified me for 2 years. There's good people and there's bad people. And I think this is one of the good ones. I think. I can't tell. AGS? No. AGS is EAC, so Adobe must be compromised. Adobe is compromised. It's probably the worst way to get scammed in the entire media thing. Unfortunately, I think it is probably a scam. I would say that's unfortunate, man. Open broadcaster software from Adobe.
All right, let's do a quick introduction of OBS, or as it's officially known, Open Broadcaster Software. But we're going to call it OBS for short, which that's how it's commonly referred to. Now, you can go grab a copy of OBS from the obsproject.com website. That's where you can get it. It is, of course, free to download for Windows, Mac, and even Linux. And this is the software that we're going to be talking about that allows you to live stream to all the popular platforms, and again, no matter what platform you're on. Now, of course, in the description for this video, we talked about minimum requirements.
I can't believe Streamlabs crashed again while I'm still talking about all this shit. It's just crazy, man.
Unfortunately, OBS doesn't really spell out minimum requirements to run their software. What's more important to them, I guess, are minimum requirements to have a successful stream using their software. So if you go to the help section under the estimator, you can go in and kind of spec out what you might or might not have and what resolutions you plan on streaming at, so forth and so on. And it will kind of give you some recommended settings. However, I will point out that they kind of really specify at least a Intel Core i5 or various AMD processors in their list. So they're kind of like they are specifying a minimum as at least to the hardware that you're going to have. And of course, like I mentioned before, the graphics card is an important part of the process. So the beefier your graphics card, the more RAM your graphics card has, the better your results are going to be. Once you've downloaded OBS, which I already have, I'm going to go ahead and just pop into it now. And once I've popped in, you can actually see that I've got my webcam. So there I am live. And I've also got an application running in the background. I got Photoshop open big, nice and big in the background, taking up the whole display. Now, how did I do that? Well, basically, I added these things as sources. So I added three sources. I added a source, which is called an application window. So, for example, I just chose.
I really would like to go to the library and uninstall this. Oh, God. Well, all of this was free, so I guess, yeah. You know who likes to give away free stuff? Really criminal people. I'm beginning to see it. Look at that. Oh, my God. Irma girl. Wow. So yeah, yeah. So Unity is running at the kernel level. It is a Trojan. It's a Trojan. Unity is a Trojan that is causing my Streamlabs crashes. I never would have dreamed. I never would have dreamed. I had no idea.
And Streamlabs has produced a version they call Streamlab OBS or SLOBS. And due to the similar names, many people have thought that these are similar companies or there's a partnership between them in order to use the same name OBS. I myself thought that, but this is absolutely not the case. It came out today that Streamlabs has been copying and stealing people's work for years now, and companies are hopping on left and right like it's a damn Avengers movie to dunk on Streamlabs and put the final nail in the coffin. Now, it all started with Lightstream. Lightstream is one of many live streaming tools, and they posted, hey, can I copy your homework? They're talking about Streamlabs' new product, Streamlabs Studio. They say, yeah, just change it up a bit so it's not obvious you copied. Clown bet. And what they post, I don't know if you can see this, is two things. One, it's their Lightstream like software copy. And then right next to it is the Streamlabs version. And as you can see, they're exactly the same down to the wording itself. Like right here, level up your Xbox and PlayStation streams. Level up your console streams. How does it work? How does it work? And it even goes down to the very layout of these two pages. They're nearly identical. And so obviously this made quite the buzz. Nobody likes when somebody is copying other people's products. But that's when OBS, which is probably the world's most popular broadcasting software, lit the match and set fire to Slobs. OBS in a post said, near the launch of Slobs, Streamlabs reached out about us using the OBS name. We kindly asked them not to. They did so anyway and followed it up by filing a trademark. We tried to sort this out in private and they have been uncooperative at every turn. Now, again, this is OBS is open source. And so, I mean, like, yeah, you can fork the project, but you can't literally call yourself the same name as the thing you're taking from. You just put your name in front of it. It's not suddenly yours. And OBS goes on to say that they've faced confused users who don't understand that there's even a difference. And I can attest to this because having used both software, I didn't know that they weren't affiliated. I assume One was just one that like incorporated Streamlabs into it, and it totally had the seal of approval of OBS. Now, something that many of you may not know is that Streamlabs then fired back and said, that is not true, OBS project, and you know it. We asked, and Jim said yes, proof attached. This was the former owner of Streamlabs, and you better believe we're going to get to him because the history here is wild. But you can see here they list an email where they're talking about a Streamlabs GitHub repo, and they're talking about the naming of a GitHub repo. They say, we are setting up the GitHub to make the code available for everyone. We're wondering the right name to choose, and we're thinking about this one, Streamlabs OBS. And above it, the OBS team says, sure, that sounds fine, Eddie. I don't particularly mind. Now, I don't know why a GitHub repo's name is equivalent to naming your entire project after the team OBS, like naming your whole project Streamlabs OBS instead of just a GitHub file. But apparently these guys think so. And not only do they think so, they think it's okay to then file a trademark for Streamlabs OBS. And why is this a big deal? Well, basically, we came to figure out that not only was Streamlabs OBS lazily copying people, but they were also trying to poach traffic using the fact that the two names are very similar, OBS and Streamlabs OBS, and people might mistake them for being affiliated. For example, when you type in OBS to Google, I think they just removed this ad just today because of the backlash, but Streamlabs was running ads on the keyword OBS, so their thing would pop up even though the real open broadcast software is down here. Again, these are not affiliated. I can't believe that I still have to point that out, but I feel like people are still going to be confused, right? Because if I all of a sudden take the McDonald's franchise name and I call it Coffee's McDonald's, and maybe I copy their interior layout and make a couple changes, right? You're going to assume that those two things are affiliated. And especially if I run ads on McDonald's and show you my McDonald's thing and I do all the same things. I don't know. I'd say it's fair to say that I'm trying to use the McDonald's name in order to profit off it. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different because OBS is an open source
Thanks for
project.
erasing my settings.
But nevertheless,
I really
don't
like
think
that.
anyone likes the
That was
fact
fun.
that Streamlabs
Thanks
OBS
for
is
that.
trying to basically poach their notoriety and then monetize it. Because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's a big part of the story. Streamlabs has been endlessly trying to get money from their users while the actual OBS has been free to use forever. This is just another wrinkle in this whole story. Streamlabs apparently was even signing people up to subscribe to their like premium service or whatever without even letting them know and then making it extremely hard to cancel. So yeah, these people have been doing horrible things forever, but that's only the start of what's been going on here. And I hope you understand why I'm like so crazy mad about this whole thing is that I literally supported this company. I downloaded their product literally due to their lies, right? Or their, implied lie about being Streamlabs OBS. I literally thought they were affiliated, and many people like myself thought this too. Now, the stories kept coming out after OBS and Lightstream told their story. It was pretty much all the companies getting together like a superhero movie. Here we have Warp World saying that they reached out to us when our startup was barely born about our cryptocurrency donation service, OneUpCoin, with a let's collaborate to bring this to more people tone. Only then to take everything discussed and doing it themselves as pioneers. So we feel this. And then Elgato jumped in the fray as well, saying that they also got copied by Streamlabs. They create the famous Stream Deck, and Streamlabs copied it with control your live stream from your phone with the Streamlabs Stream Deck. So Streamlabs, pretty much their MO is they take other people's products and innovation and they attach Streamlabs in front of it, and then they make money off of it. That's the whole thing. Oh, and here's another example, and I know it just seems like everyone's just dunking on Streamlabs, but this is what happens when you try to steal people's work for years and get away with it. Streamlabs also reached out to this guy. He has a company called Join Combo, which allowed you to like create Twitch clips on the fly and turn them into TikTok videos. He says they were also copied, that they basically asked a lot of prodding questions about Join Combo only to launch a copy of their product a few months later. Not only that, then Streamlabs employees started coming forward and saying that people in the company started talking about how bad these situations were internally. And what did Streamlabs do? They fired them. They fired the people talking about how aggressive and manipulative these practices were. This is from one of their employees. Apparently, so many people in marketing were reprimanded, put on PIP plans, and fired for speaking up against unethical business practices to the point where they basically got rid of the entire marketing team by late 2018. By the way, the irony of having to fire the marketing team, who are usually the most aggressive in pushing towards, like crazy claims and stuff like that when your marketing team's basically saying, hey, we got to be kind
check.
You've gone too far.
Fuck.
This could have something to do with the fact that
Fuck.
when Streamlabs was acquired by Logitech, they were given compensation based on meeting certain revenue goals. So we know they were pushed to go ahead and go out and, generate X number of dollars so that, the CEOs and whoever owned it would get compensated. This was actually pointed out to me by a user named Shannon on Twitter, and here's the source. An additional payout of $29 million may be made if Streamlabs meets certain established revenue growth targets. This is right after they were acquired.
Why does all this shit have to be evil and fucked up and kind of a scam? I just wanted to relax and use a program that's used by tens of millions of people. I don't really know why this had to be so much a battle. Why am I running two programs right now and learning about how one is criminal and all this? Why did it need to be this hard? I just needed the program to work.
Pretty much from the get-go, all the wrong incentives were there. People were getting fired for speaking up, and pretty much this company has had a practice of stealing other people's work and trying to monetize it and profit from it. Not only that, poaching other people's traffic. But honestly, it goes back even further than the Logitech acquisition. See, and this is where the rabbit hole really starts. It actually goes back to 2016 with the FTC. See, before Streamlabs was ever known as Streamlabs, they were known as something called Vulcan, okay? And apparently, their owners were doing some really shady stuff. According to this FTC complaint and eventually settlement, what Vulcan had done was basically they bought out a mobile game company, replaced it with their own Chrome extension, and were bypassing Android security features to install a bunch of products people didn't want onto their phone. And they eventually settled the charge with the FTC basically admitting guilt. These are their founders. That's what they were doing. The game was called Running Fred. And according to the complaint, quote, they used it to install a different app, commandeer people's computers, and bombard them with ads. So actually, if you're hearing about this news, it turns out it's completely consistent with these people's MO. Signing people up for subscriptions they don't want, stealing other people's work, and then trying to backpack on top of that in order to make money and steal traffic. This is literally what they've been doing from the very beginning. It's just coming out now that it's the same company and they've been doing it to everybody. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, even though I'm not usually the type to take a big grand stand about something like this, and frankly, it's not that big of a grandstand because, Streamlabs OBS is a terrible piece of software. Anyways, it's way behind where actual OBS is, and there's a ton of alternatives also to their alerts system like Stream Elements. But I would make a stand about something like this either way, even if Streamlabs was the best game in town, because honestly, you can't put up with something like this. This company, it's not like it was a bad employee. In fact, it seems like it was the opposite. They fired all their good employees and left all the bad ones who didn't question their unethical business practices. I cannot support or have my company even tangentially affiliated with this. So I personally am removing myself from their ecosystem. I think I still have their software still installed on my computer. I'll be uninstalling it. And I encourage everyone to do the same, because this is not the case of, a joke told 12 years ago that has nothing to do with the company. This is the company's core product. This is the company's core values. This is the company's core business practices for literally years. I mean, all of their products, a lot of them you can trace directly back to somebody else's work and them just stealing it. Now, real quick, I want to jump in here and also add, I forgot it in the first recording of this, the CSGO part that I mentioned earlier. See, Vulkan, back when it was their name still, this is once again back in 2016, reports came out that they actually bought or co-owned this CSGO jackpot thing, and they lied to people about it. They said, no, we didn't, but their allegations that, in fact, they had a strategic partnership running some of these CSGO websites. Now, I want to just say, for fairness, that it is true that the co-founders who started Vulkan and eventually Twitch Alerts, which eventually became Streamlabs, are technically gone from the company. But you've seen the same practices going on where they're getting into the shadiest stuff, denying it until they can no longer deny it. I also want to add that Streamlabs did issue a formal statement saying the following: "We are taking immediate action to remove OBS from our name. Streamlabs OBS is built upon the top of the OBS open source platform. Streamlabs OBS is also open source and our code is publicly available. We take responsibility for our actions and support the community." So there you go. Not really an apology. They don't say sorry, but also not really enough either. At least for me personally, this goes much beyond just the use of Streamlabs as a name. And also, you could have taken responsibility for this when OBS originally asked you 3 years ago not to use their name and confuse people. It seems like literally this statement is only because they got caught, which of course it is. It's always about that, right? And I think, as Epos Vox mentioned, he's a great YouTuber. You should go check him out. He always talks about OBS, streaming stuff.
There is plenty to think about before you buy a home computer.
Electronic games being heralded by folks in the trade as this year's holiday bestseller.
Children have skipped school or stolen money to play the games.
I'll be looking at the electronic game craze.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer.
I've talked in previous source focus episodes about the ability to use a video source or VLC video source in your streams. But how does that perform? What kind of video files should you be using? Can you optimize this to make your stream setup more lightweight? Let's discuss this here.
Yeah, cool. This guy is good. Thank you, Epos Fox, for the excellent content for my stream. Thank you, Mr. CoffeeZilla, for the excellent content for my stream.
Hey there, neighbor. What you doing? Oh, hey, what's up? You got your streaming computer in the yard again? Why is that? What's a computer?
Andre, don't do it! Don't do it! This thing costs $800. Dude, that's insane. You can get these for $1.
It happened a little earlier than expected. I told you before how the iPad will soon become the ultimate capture solution with the expanded USB device support with iPad OS 17, especially for mobile setups and event travel. And Elgato have once again sponsored me to show you this future of capture setups, this time in action with Reincubate's Camo Studio streaming app and Elgato's brand new Capture app. Comment sections and the Discord server have been flooded with requests for an iPad OS version of OBS Studio for a while now. And Camo Studio basically provides exactly that. Camo Studio comes equipped with the Scene Manager with free templates, support for 2 video sources at a time, 1080p 30, 60, or 4K 30 output, or vertical streaming, and even browser dock support for keeping up your chat and things like that. Let's make your backpacking stream setup dreams come true. Camo Studio is intuitively laid out, but it does differ a little bit from OBS Studio if you're used to that. The main section of your screen has your stream preview, where you can resize and arrange your sources. The top bar gives you a toggle for the sources menu, drawing options, record and streaming buttons, audio meters, and general settings. Settings at the moment are pretty sparse, with just light or dark mode options, your username for overlays, and your streaming and recording destinations, in case you want to save your recordings directly to a USB SSD or even an SD card. The left sidebar is where you customize your video and audio sources. You have the option for 2 video sources. The primary source can be cameras on your iPad, external video sources, or apps running on your iPad if you want to stream iPad OS games like Diablo Immortal or the upcoming Resident Evil 4 remake or Assassin's Creed Mirage ports that are supposed to be coming, apparently. I will say this, it doesn't work great at the moment, and portrait mode games don't seem to work at all. There's a weird crop, and landscape mode puts your webcam in a rectangle frame overlaid on the game, and you could do all of this at high quality and frame rate on something smaller than a paper notebook. Would have blew my freaking mind. It still kind of does. But what if you would just want to capture your gameplay in a quick and easy way, or dare I say it, play your console games on your iPad as a monitor? That's where the brand new Elgato Capture app comes in. This awesome app supports the HD60X, HD60S Plus, Camlink and Camlink 4K, Facecam and Facecam Pro, and lets you take screenshots, record, or just play full screen and enjoy the beautiful iPad screen as your monitor or TV with a lot lower latency. It's a pretty slick experience. Again, it does run into the same limitations as Camo Studio when it comes to audio, device selection, or quality choices. They can't avoid that. But you do get to choose your device, your format, and where your recordings are stored. Elgato Capture is a simple option that is perfect for your capture sessions while you grind, for vlogs, or for playing on the go, and you can still save your clips to an external drive if you wish. I guess I'll go on and add that I said I really wanted this to come out quickly after the iPadOS 17 update as well, and it did. I didn't know any of this was actually in development. Hooking up the Facecam Pro with the Capture app lets you capture in full 4K 60 FPS that the webcam supports, which is really, really nice. You get crisp, clear recordings here. And once the full app is out, you could probably use Split View to pull up your notes, your chat, your outline, your script, whatever, while you're recording. Have both going side by side. Currently in my test flight version, that's not supported. You don't need a computer to even record high quality 4K video anymore. It's pretty wild, and despite having the top-of-the-line newest iPad Pro, the 4K 60 on here compared to the built-in camera, even though they're in different spots,
What's here?
You've been waiting. You've been asking. You've been pleading.
$260 for an HDMI 2.1 pass-through capture card before anyone else has actually released theirs seems like a good deal. It's got an audio extractor, both the SPDIF.
Anyways,
stuff like that. He mentioned that, look, I mean, how do you really take accountability for a lifelong practice of stealing work, right? What are you going to give it all back? Are you going to undo all the Logitech deal, right? So it doesn't really make sense. And for me, it's really unsatisfying. So yeah, just wanted to add that quick context.
God damn it. I don't live on. I mean, I live on YouTube all day now, but I didn't live on YouTube all day when I started streaming, so I didn't know all this shit.
Today, I never thought I'd be covering something regarding controversy involving free and open source software. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a controversy. We have a little bit of a hoopla around software. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all know what OBS is, Open Broadcaster Software. It's basically 33% of my YouTube cracked in gaming setup. I use this tool to record my screen all the time. I use it to stream to YouTube and Twitch whenever I feel like it. So when I use this software, I was under the impression that most people use this software. But see, OBS is open source software. It's literally in the name, open broadcasting software. The beautiful thing about free and open source is anybody can take free and open source software and fork it to whatever they want. I could take OBS's source code and make Muda OBS. Basically the same thing as OBS, but I just plaster that god decrepit image of me on every single video that you make at 5% opacity. Could you imagine how annoying that would be? Yes, it would be, but I could make that software, publish it, and people could download it, compile it, and use it like they would OBS. Now, Streamlabs OBS is another tool that a lot of people use. You've seen it around. I've actually noticed a lot of people confuse Streamlabs OBS with OBS, like they're partnered or something. So basically, you have OBS and SLOBS. I don't know why I'd use a software with the acronym SLOBS, but people do anyways.
Maybe I'm okay with Rust because they've renounced Unity, actually. That's an engine. The hell is that?
No, ladies and gentlemen, Streamlabs and OBS were never partnered. They never were.
I thought I closed the door, but I didn't. I gotta shut the door, guys.
What we like to call a hostile fork. Basically, they didn't do anything, I guess, legally wrong. They took OBS's software, but they branded their own thing on top of it, and it pretty much is what it is. OBS is better software than SLOBS ever will be, but tons of people use SLOBS anyways. But let's get started. This is Lightstream.com. Okay, go Lightstream. Now, Lightstream is kind of like web streaming software. So basically, if you're on an Xbox, a PlayStation, you can stream to their servers and then overlay your webcam and all these other tools on top. So basically, it's a live streaming software built into the web. You pay monthly for it, but it makes a whole lot of stuff easily accessible, easy to access, easy to do. So they made this software, which is Lightstream, create more professional and impactful live streams. So it looks kind of cool, right? It looks kind of poggers indeed. In fact, look here, cloud capture for console streams. So if you go to Streamlabs, they're making something called Streamlabs Studio. Yes, they have in fact kind of copied this page a little bit. In fact, at further glance, it's actually something that anybody could confuse. Look, I'm not Mr. Magoo or anything, but that looks suspiciously close to the exact same website. We often faced with confused users and even companies who do not understand the difference between the two apps. Support volunteers are sometimes met with angry users demanding refunds. We've had interactions with several companies who did not